Good morning and welcome to the NBA Daily. Coming up, the Cavs might be done. They're down 3-1. Thunder Nuggets is giving us a rock fight of a series, and we're going to make our picks for tomorrow night's games. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, guys. Kind of a crazy weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed the playoffs.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, always.
Hanging out.
Always enjoying it.
Where are you guys right now after watching this weekend where we got low scores, we got blowouts, we got tight games? How are you guys feeling about the general vibe of the playoffs?
Second round has been a bit of a letdown, I think, just because of the injuries. You know, you think of the Wolves-Warriors series and Steph being taken out of that one. And then obviously with this Cavs-Pacers series, the injuries looming big for Cleveland. It's kind of taken the life out of the second round a little bit. But
especially
at the same time, the
round.
hoops have been good. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
But that's what I to your point, as I feel as if I almost expected it because of how hard the first round went, right? And how hard everyone went. You think about that Denver Clippers series was crazy. And now you're seeing them look so tired against OKC. And it's a direct result of that first series, right? I agree. Injuries have been tough, but second round has been a little bit meh.
Well, speaking of a little bit meh, the Cavs, guys, second round going a little not great for them. They're now down 3-1 after just getting wrecked on Sunday by the Pacers. They bounced back in game 3, had a huge win, and it looked like, hey, okay, they got their guys back, they're healthy, and you think, okay, maybe we got ourselves a series. But even people like me who thought the Pacers would give them a hard time didn't see what happened on Sunday coming. I mean, they just absolutely just blew the doors off of them.
Yeah, the 3-2 zone that Cleveland threw out in game 3 with Mobley in the middle was such a massive point to how they stopped Indiana. And zone has been a big part of the playoffs in general.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have noticed this. Like every team is throwing out a zone defense at some point in time in the series just to muck things up for the other team offensively. Cleveland did it in game 3. And then in game 4, I thought Indiana really countered well, running some slip action, like really basically slipping out of screens. Who knows? You can screen against the zone. You can screen against the zone and get some openings. But yeah, Indiana did that, and just it opened up so many opportunities for their bigs. So Siakam, Miles Turner, Obi Toppin just absolutely destroyed Cleveland in this game.
On the point of zones, we saw that in both games, in both teams in both games, trying to find a way to utilize zone. And I was talking about this last night with Chris Mullin and Bonte and Festus on the Warriors show, like how much zone we've seen this season than any other before. But one of the reasons that some of these teams are really struggling against the zone, it's like, one, you're expecting a man, so you're not really prepping for it as much. But two, this basketball today is more oriented to the pick and roll, to the man defense. And in a zone, it requires good execution. You need good passing. You need ball movement. You need ball fakes. You need fundamentals. And this era of basketball isn't as attuned to that sort of ball. So you're seeing teams, when they first see the zone, they don't know what to do. Like Indiana looked dazed last game when they saw a Cavs zone. But what happens is they're now told, hey, screen in the zone. Hey, these are the angles. Here's the geometry you got to start to take advantage of. And so literally, I feel like the coaches from the older era are like, hey, we very rarely saw zone, but that's because we could pass well. And here's what you got to do to be able to beat it.
Yeah, it helps quite a bit that playoff defense is geared toward finding the weakness, right? So it's like we're going to leave, for instance, like Lou Dort being left open, right? And you look at the Cavs, right? Who are they leaving open? I think you pick your spots, and the way that they've set up the zone to just completely cut off getting into the paint for Donovan Mitchell. I mean, it's massive there. The other thing is that the Pacers offense is crazy high powered. They put up 80 points on the Cavs in the first half of the game. And it's look, a lot of it is they hit some shots. They hit some tough shots, but they were generating easy looks. They were creating turnovers. I mean, this Pacers team is built to be in the playoffs. Aaron Nesmith continues to just dominate. Andrew Nembhard picking up. I mean, Donovan Mitchell looks dejected by the time he gets to half court, because Andrew Nembhard is all over him. Again, like the Pacers, they made the conference finals last year. a lot of people, including me, chalked it up a little bit as a fluke. Hey, they got some great injury luck. There were signs there that they had this sort of defense. And we saw them win that Knicks series because they had just elite ball pressure. But what we've seen out of them so far, I didn't even think they had this level. This is a team that could make the finals.
I will say, though, I want to give us a little bit of credit because I think we all kind of said Indiana could win this series. Now, granted,
sure. Oh, by the time we got to the playoffs, we were all on.
Sure.
We were on Indy. Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, let's give us credit for being on the Andrew Nembhard train early, though.
Very true.
We've been talking about him
true.
since the beginning of the season.
We could do the credit podcast. This could be
a
whole
very Orleans, right? Like we're just going to do that.
No, but Cleveland has also dealt with injury, so that's part of this equation. You know, Garland and Mobley clearly are not 100%. Mitchell didn't play in that second half, which was another kind of caveat to this whole situation. We'll see how that looks. It's tough that a season for Cleveland where they were awesome all year, dominant offensively, great defensive team. Mobley wins Defensive Player of the Year. It sucks that season is resulting in an ending that's just injury riddled for them. It's over because of injuries, right? And you look back at game 2 with the Halliburton shot and how the NBA basically said that the Nesmith offensive rebound was supposed to actually be a lane violation. This series could have been technically 2-2 instead of 3-1. So it's hard not to feel a little snake bit here if you're a Cavs fan.
It's a little anticlimactic too, right?
Yes,
it is.
Yeah.
You talked about that high octane offense. At least in this game, don't look at just the scores, the stats that were after the final box score, folks. Yes, the bench looks like 58-53, but that was not the case for the majority of the game. The difference in this game, to me, Obi Toppin, TJ McConnell, coming off the bench and, literally lighting it up, playing defense, running in transition, and you compare their performances, just the two of them, to Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter, Sam Merrill, Wade, Okoro. Those two outdid those 5. And that bench play completely changed the pace of everything that was going on for Indiana.
Yeah. I mean, Benedict Mathurin got ejected from the game, and it wasn't even a blip on the radar for the Pacers. So.
It didn't matter at all. Yeah.
All right. You know what? The first half of Thunder Nuggets was awful to watch.
Terrible.
It was the Nuggets scored 36 points in the first half of the game, guys. They had a short turnaround between games. They had, the overtime game on Friday night, had to play Sunday, and it was the early game for some reason, even though it's the Western Conference. I'm not sure what the schedule makers were thinking. Maybe they wanted folks in Europe to be able to watch Nikola Jokic. I'm not sure, but it showed on the court. I thought that the Thunder at halftime should have had a bigger lead. They had to have felt like they almost let this game go. They win it. It's a close one, 92-87, and it goes down to the wire. But the Thunder, I think, have to look at this game a little bit disappointed in how they came out, guys, because they're the younger team. And I know, look, it's in Denver. It's at elevation. Whatever the turnaround was, being extremely short. But you are the youthful team, and you are the better team and the deeper team. This is a game where I actually felt like the Thunder should have come out and kind of stepped on their neck a little bit and demonstrated, hey, look, we're the young guns here, and you're going to have to deal with our energy.
Yeah, not being able to put them away was bad. Sorry, go ahead, Zena.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think you have a team in Oklahoma City that, what is the one thing we've talked about all year with OKC? The depth. Playing 9-10 guys. And genuinely, I think throughout this entire series, we've noticed Denver's depth popping up, and the 6-7 players that they play, every single player is impactful. You think of Russell Westbrook, you think of Aaron Gordon, obviously making timely shots, Michael Porter Jr., all those guys, they've been able to step up in major ways. When it comes to OKC's depth, I think the big question that comes to me is Lou Dort ended up 2 of 10 from 3 in this game, did not play in the fourth quarter. And I think that was a big, big part of OKC swinging this game totally, because Denver is basically saying, we're allowing Lou to shoot. Nobody else shot more than 6 threes in this game on OKC other than Lou Dort. He took 10. They're funneling it to him. And it's very similar to the OKC Mavs series from last year, where they were doing the same thing with Lou Dort and Josh Giddey. And it just seems like they adjusted in a major way in that fourth quarter. And to your point, Dave, I actually think we should credit the Thunder for that, because they rolled with Alex Caruso in the fourth. They had a lineup with Caruso, Wiggins, and Isaiah Joe that really spurred them on in that fourth quarter to take the lead and then roll with it. So to me, that felt like an important shift in this series, where they actually figured out, like, hey, this is the way we have to win this series. If we're going to have to play in the mud, we have to play this certain way to pull it off over the next couple games.
Yeah, this game is awful for both teams, shooting less than 40%. I would almost say 35% from the floor for both teams. But more credit to be given to Thunder for winning the game.
Yeah.
I mean, this is probably the number one question that's been on OKC Thunder. We talked about the number one thing that's been talked about, their depth. The number one question has been, are you able to pull that depth and all that talent that you've got into the postseason and actually win and close out tough games? Yeah. We know Denver's capable of it, and they've got the veteranship, the maturity, and the talent to be able to pull it off. But in this game, the youth showed up. Both teams were dead tired. Let's just put that out there. Yeah. And that was probably weird for all of us to see OKC, the young legs, the young Bucks, be tired against this team. But they pulled this out, and they should have confidence that they can pull a game like that out on Denver's court, especially the way that Denver has been closing out some of these games. Shout out Aaron Gordon. But if I'm looking at the Nuggets, I'm now concerned, because throughout this season, the two lowest offensive rating games that they've had have come at the hands of OKC. One was earlier this season. The other one was last night. The three of the worst games that Jokic has had this season have come at the hands of the OKC. So they're going back. They're going back into their locker room, and they're going back into their bus, and they're like, we can do this. Yes, Joker walks in with his suit every day, looking fresh, a little bit of intimidation with the colors and such. Of course, we know what he's referencing, but we can do this. We have held this team, and we have stopped this team, and we have stopped their best player. And they really should pull from this game and get even more confident that they can do it again.
I mean, again, back to the depth, Lou Dort not playing in the fourth makes me question how playable he is going forward in the series, right? Like, do they stick with him? Chet Holmgren not having a great series, looks small because it's more than just being tall. So I think the Thunder have some questions there, but you're right. Look, the Nuggets, we already know that they don't have any bench depth, right? Like, we're not really learning a lot of new stuff. I thought Michael Porter Jr., in spite of the injury, was really good for them. Had 9 rebounds. The activity was there. In the game, they're plus 15 in his minutes with him on the court. I think his size really helped. And again, like, even against him, Chet felt kind of small when he would crash the glass. So, where do we go for the Nuggets, right? Okay, so like every playoff series is about adjustments. And we've seen this now swing back and forth. Where do the Nuggets go? Where do they find extra offense? I mean, again, Michael Porter Jr., he had 3 points, 2 points from Peyton Watson, 6 points from Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
I don't think that the Nuggets go anywhere else. Like, they tried it.
Yeah, they know what they had
last night. Like, they know what they had. They tried Strother. They've been trying Watson. If anything, I'm more focused on getting sleep. Like, go get your neurotech, right? Get the melatonin, get the legs on, where you can get some recovery to your legs. Like, that is more important for anything, or to anything that Denver wants to do. They have to believe in Russell Westbrook not ending up. I mean, what was he, 1 of 10 or something from the floor?
2 of 12. 2 of 12,
which is just as bad,
right?
Yeah.
You got to believe that he won't go 2 of 12. You got to believe that Michael Porter Jr., even with the activity and the effort that he's shown last night, that he'll go more than 1 for 7. That's all I think Denver has. They got to believe in the personnel that they have, which we've seen be capable of showing up.
I know there's one guy, and Dave, I remember us talking about this when it was Clippers Nuggets and it was 2-2. There's one guy that can kind of turn the tide here for Denver, and it's Jamal Murray. That's it.
Yeah.
He's always the guy. He's always the X factor. He's always the wild card. If he has a game where he goes off for 35 or 40, which he's capable of doing, he can switch this series around. And that's the guy.
They get the Jamal Murray game in every series, and they haven't gotten it yet. So they definitely need it in one of the next 3. Stick around, guys. After the break, we're going to talk about the other series, and we're going to look ahead to tonight's draft lottery. All right, Monday night sees a couple of game fours, and that takes us to our BetMGM picks of the day. Guys, we're going to start with Celtic Knicks. The Knicks were up 2-0. They drop a game to the Celtics in MSG. It looks more like the Celtics that we're used to seeing. How you guys looking at game 4 for the Celtics and Knicks?
I'm thinking Boston.
Yeah.
I think Boston's back in form. I think those 2 games at the start were feeling weird. I feel like they're going to tie it on up.
They were really weird. Those were some really weird games.
Boston's having historic poor shooting, and the Knicks win by 1.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Right. Exactly. Right. And Jason Tatum's Superman commercial came out. So we gotta, that
should be worth a loss. That should be worth a loss.
With the way that the DC cinematic universe is gone, I'm just not sure if we want to lean on.
My point is if anything, Jason Tatum has got to make up for the fact that commercial came out at the time that it did.
Can't believe we just fumbled a DC bag. That's crazy.
Yeah. You cannot.
This is actually a commercial for the new Superman film, guys. We snuck that in there. Look, the problem, right, is the Knicks just can't keep up. It's this huge math problem. And we know it's a math problem when the Celtics miss 45 threes, that it's a problem for the Celtics, but they just don't actually do that all that often. I feel like the magic number for them is like 38%. If they hit 38% from 3, I don't think the Knicks can beat them.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, and they've got back to that. And also it was just about closing out games. And, game 1 and game 2 was like in the third quarter and fourth quarter, New York had a run and they weren't able to kind of withstand those runs. In game 3, you saw them withstand a run and just kind of deal with it because of the shooting. Seems like it's going to be the case in game 4 too. So I got Boston as well.
Yeah. I think we're all on the same page. Okay. Warriors Wolves. Now this one, I think we're all probably, there's no Steph Curry. Yeah. And try as they might, that offense is pitiful without Steph Curry on the court. And, we saw that in game 3 where this team just struggled to put the ball in the basket. They almost won the game. Like they really had a good shot at it. Jonathan Kuminga was excellent.
Absolutely.
But I don't know, guys. Steve Kerr, I think he's doing a pretty good job considering, the makeup of the team coaching. I don't know what miracle there is for him to work, for them to make it to a potential game 6 so that Steph can come back. Come on, give me something, guys. I need one more Steph game this year.
I think it definitely will require a miracle. But first, tangibly, Jimmy, JK have to repeat their performances. The miracle is going to have to be one more person. Pods, Buddy, Moses. Those are the miracles that are going to happen.
They need a Buddy healed game.
They need a Buddy healed game. And we saw the 33-point game at the end of Houston. Like we know what he's capable of. But what they really need is a point guard. And say what you want. People have thoughts about this, but I think they could benefit from having Pat Spencer out there. And knowing Steve Kerr and how these lineups have changed literally every game, why not? You move Quentin Post out. You put DJ
what do you
D
have
in.
to lose at this
Give
point?
Give yourself a point guard and organize yourself out there.
Also, how about more than 29 minutes of Draymond Green? Need Draymond Green to stay on the court. Listen, I'm not even saying that the foul out is all his fault. Look, when you play defense like that, sometimes you're going to foul out, especially, against a bigger team. But
the offense was rolling a little bit when he was not out on the floor. So I'm not saying it's like of course you are better with Draymond Green. Don't get me wrong. But when
because Draymond's terrified of taking layups. That's why,
when things get a little bit ISO, you need a little bit more spacing. And so sometimes the breaks from Draymond can be a positive. But that being said, I'm going to go with, and I know you guys are going to be like, really? I'm going to go with the Warriors.
Really?
I love it.
Really? No, I am going to say really. You know what?
Love it.
To Zena's point, and you know what? It's a fair point. The Wolves haven't necessarily been world beaters here, right?
No.
Like they haven't. They haven't been blowing the doors off of these games.
Thank you.
So I can see a world in which Jimmy does what he did in game 3, Kuminga comes through, and then you get a Pods and Buddy game, and now you're 2-2. I can see it. Fine. All right. I'll go with Warriors as well.
Zena talked us all into the Warriors. The Warriors are going to extend this series. They're going to tie it up tonight.
They're not going to let a game away from at home go away. Like, come on. No,
but wait, can we agree that if Minnesota wins this one, then it's done? It's finished.
Yeah. I just don't. I don't know if the Warriors can win one on the road without Steph. Yeah. I think it would be tough. Guys, tonight the NBA holds its draft lottery. You can hang out with Alex Spears and Andrew Schlecht, the hosts of Slam and Jam that you listen to right here on this podcast feed or watch on this YouTube channel. They're going to have a live stream during the draft lottery over on our YouTube channel. So, while you're there, also subscribe and, leave them a nice comment and hang out and watch the live stream with these guys. They cover the draft for us every year. And so we're kind of going to lean into that a little bit. I think probably going to be doing some stuff with them heading into the draft. But guys, with the draft lottery happening, this is a holiday for a lot of NBA fans. So we want to make sure
holiday. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he has promised that if the Toronto Raptors win the lottery, he will stream for as long as we want into a microphone.
Yes. Absolutely. So, 12 minutes straight.
I don't think I gather that that's what he plans to do. So now I'm literally cheering for this. Wow.
Now,
okay.
Listen, guys, there's no way that we're going to allow an American named Flag to
he's from Maine. It's basically,
it doesn't matter. He's not going to be drafted
2 hours away from
the
Quebec
team in
City,
Canada. I just can't imagine that the NBA is going to allow that to happen. Look, we know that. I'm not saying that
So then congratulations to the Dallas Mavericks for winning the NBA draft lottery. You've got Cooper Flag.
I want to ask you guys, which team needs to win the lottery the most? Like, what's the most desperate team, that really just needs to turn it around and have some good luck hit their franchise?
Okay.
Washington Wizards.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I do like Washington. That would be fun because Bilal and Alex Sarr.
Correct. And that you go ahead, S, because you're laying out my theory. And it's because
no.
I feel like they're the closest. I'm not going to say I hate, but it is kind of lackluster and anticlimactic when these big time lottery picks go to teams and they kind of have to sit and wait for their team to really pick up, right? Let's think about what happened with Cade Cunningham going to Detroit.
Sure.
You had to wait.
Mm-hmm.
Washington's right on the cusp of figuring something out in terms of just getting some momentum. They got Jordan Poole, they got Sarr, they got Bilal, they got things going. I just feel like they need another thing to have us start thinking about them as
in
like,
the East,
what could they be?
Like it doesn't take much to get yourself into the play-in.
Exactly.
Right?
Look at Orlando.
Yeah.
Look at Orlando. So I just feel like that's why I think Washington.
Yeah, I like that. I like that pick a lot, actually. I could sit here for the next 5 minutes and pitch to you why it's so important for the Toronto Raptors to win this lottery. But I will be objective here and tell you guys that I actually think it's the Philadelphia 76ers. So desperate, so wild to think about the fact that if they win the number one pick, they might have just saved themselves because Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, it would be a great trade chip, but at the same time, you get to draft a potentially quote unquote generational prospect that you have, kind of control of for the next 9 years, given the contract extensions and all that type of stuff. That saves this Sixers team. That feels like it's not really going to go anywhere because of the injuries of Embiid and whatnot. So Philly, I think, is the wildest answer.
You guys, they got star players there. I see what you mean.
They do have star players. Yeah. But
guys,
it's desperate.
There's another team and it's not the team that most deserves it. It's not the team that I think is going to do the best job of building a roster around him. No. It's the Chicago Bulls because they just desperately need any help that they can get from the universe whatsoever. Because
I would like
ownership doesn't help them. The front office doesn't help them. They're not bringing in good players. They send away good players and they don't get anything for them. So it's the Chicago Bulls. They need this. They need all of the luck because there's no skill behind whatever it is they're doing.
Dang, Dave.
That's going to do it for today's show, folks. Thank you guys for joining. Leave us a comment on YouTube. Leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. For Zena, Keita, and S. Baraheni, I'm Dave DuFour, and this has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for waking up with us.